Hi, everyone, and welcome to this month's Logility webinar, Beyond S&OP, The Journey to Integrated S&OE. My name's Lisa Henriot, and I lead product marketing here at Logility. Joining me is Raheel Hussain, Director in the Supply Chain Center of Excellence at Reynolds Consumer Products. Today, we're going to be talking about how Reynolds moved from disparate systems to a cohesive supply chain planning platform with some very impressive results. Raheel has guided their supply chain team through some big changes, from demand and inventory optimization to supply and deployment planning. But I'll let her dive into those details. First, just a couple of housekeeping items, and then we'll get things going. This session is being recorded, and you will receive the on-demand version in your inbox tomorrow. The webinar console that you're seeing is completely customizable. You can move the windows around, make them larger, smaller, or even collapse them. You should see the Ask a Question window on your screen. We welcome you to ask questions along the way. We'll be saving time at the end of our session to answer your questions, and if we run out of time, we will respond to each of you individually after the session. You should also see a related content box. Click there for direct links to resources on today's topic. And you can even view a library of our on-demand webinars. You'll also see a reaction button on the bottom of the console. We welcome your feedback, so don't be shy. And with that, I'll turn it over to Raheel.
Thank you, Lisa. Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here with you today on behalf of Reynolds Consumer Products to talk to you about our journey of digitizing supply chain and how Logility were a great partner to help us through this process of streamlining our demand, supply, and distribution planning. Here is what we are going to cover in our session today. I will start by introducing you to Reynolds Consumer Products, and we will then take a look at why we began our digital supply chain journey and what were the key components of this journey. We will then focus on two key areas of our journey, the demand planning and supply planning piece. So let's start with who's Reynolds Consumer Products. We are a manufacturer and leading provider of household products ranging from aluminum foil, trash bags, storage bags, tableware items, and more. Our products are found in 95% of households across the United States. I would be surprised if everyone on this call residing in the United States did not have at least one of our products in your home. In my house, it is almost a crime for any member to buy products that are not made by Reynolds. And let me be honest, this is not because I'm employed by Reynolds, but they make such great quality. They're absolutely the best. And also because I'm a great fan of John Cena. We offer a large range of eco-friendly products to support our sustainability initiatives and focus on protecting the environment. Let us now move on to some of the challenges that led us to take a step back and begin the supply chain journey. What were our biggest challenges? The first challenge we had was increasing our service level. Second one is reducing costs. I bet no one has heard of these challenges before, right? Well, not really. These are not novel challenges. Everyone has them. So what were we really looking for? We were looking for agility, being agile enough to respond to changes in demand. We were looking for standardization across the organization, across our communication with the executive leadership that would aid us in making faster decisions. But most importantly, we were looking for coupling of functions, sales with supply chain, and planning with operations with distribution, and so on. We were looking for a level of harmonization that would enable information sharing systematically and cut down the constant offline back and forth between different functions. We believe that addressing these challenges would help us find a more cohesive supply chain within the organization, where we could withstand disruptions, volatility in demand, supply changes, help us carry the right amount of inventory at the right time, at the right place. So let's talk about this roadmap that shows you our journey. In 2019, we integrated our planning systems with ERP. It was a drive to improve our results and make better purchase decisions. 2020, we separated our systems and our ERP from our legacy company. We stood up our own transportation module, TMS, freight payment, shipment visibility platform. But we all remember 2020 for another reason. Yes, that's right. COVID disrupted all pre-existing supply chain strategies. We saw unprecedented demand that completely wiped out the shelves at all the grocery stores. So heading into 2021, we recognized almost an urgency in our need to digitize our demand and supply planning pieces. We continued our journey with integrating our 3PL facilities into the RCP network. We improved our WMS capabilities. We expanded our network. But the most significant milestone this year was modernizing our demand planning using Logility across our supply chain, sales, and customer marketing functions. 2022 and 2023, our journey continued with Logility, and we onboarded their supply planning tool to address both our supply and distribution planning processes. This was the Coliseum that we needed to digitize, where our control tower and automate our processes. As we move into 2024, the natural next step really is for our ERP to be modernized and implement an SAP S/4 business processes. So as we began our journey, we needed to self-evaluate ourselves. I'll take us to the next slide, where Gartner, they have been an amazing partner with RCP. They helped us do the self-assessment, evaluate ourselves, benchmark our demand and supply functions against the industry standards. This maturity model that you see on the screen, it helped guide our leadership to assess the current state from the perspective of change management, processes, and technology. It served as a great communication tool to share with our team members, garner their engagement, participation, because at the end of the day, it is these end users who play a key role in the success of any transformation. They are the ones who become our primary stakeholders. This internal assessment created a roadmap to us understanding where we were and where we wanted to be. The assessment results that I'm sharing on the screen, it shows that we were placed somewhere between level 2 and level 3 on a scale of 5. It helped us recognize what needed immediate attention and what was aspirational in our journey. Taking us on to the next slide, we'd like to understand, how do you feel about this maturity model? Where do you feel you stand? Lisa, over to you.
Yes, thanks. Thanks, Raheel. So as Raheel mentioned, we need your help here. Let's look at our first poll. And where is your organization on the Gartner supply chain maturity model? We saw that highest level, level 5. We realize few companies are there. The level 3, that cross-functional integration, that's where Reynolds was at in their evaluation, or it could be level 2, functional scale, or level 1, siloed management. So take a quick, just pick here in the poll and fill us in on where you are, where your organization is in that supply chain maturity model. And It's not surprising. Raheel and I had a little side bet here. We figured most people would come in at that level 3. um, and that's what we see with many companies out in the marketplace. We're all coming from different points on this supply chain journey, and Reynolds has shown how quickly they've been able to step up and move to that next level. So I'll pass it back over to Raheel so she can walk you through that.
I'm sorry. I've been talking while I was on mute. Happens at least once every day, right? Okay, so the polling results showed that most of you are not far from where Reynolds consumer products were, right? Like between level 2 and 3. So as we move to the first focus area for today's session, which is the demand planning piece, we were looking for some specific requirements, capabilities. The first one of that was a single source of truth, right? Converging multiple forecasts and data from sales, marketing, finance, supply chain. We were looking to collaborate and align on an integrated demand plan. And this was the list of required capabilities that we went to Logility for. Being able to forecast on the right level, right? We all know that an aggregate forecast, it drives accurate financial planning and helps us analyze our capacity. We wanted an optimized operational forecast at the right level to create improvement in inventory positions and help us mitigate the risks associated with the inaccurate predictions. The next was data convergence, right? We wanted to just go beyond the simple historical shipment data. We wanted to bring in some intelligence to it. The next was the algorithms. So to effectively drive statistical forecast algorithms, we needed to assign demand profiles based upon certain characteristics. We wanted to evolve to the causal regression modeling and use data science to handle confounding biases. The next was obviously automation, right? A lot of manual work needed to be eliminated. We wanted to leverage a certain type of artificial intelligence or machine learning to identify issues and exceptions, new product introductions, and let the machine-assisted corrections make life easier for our demand planners. These days, almost every platform talks about Gen AI in some form, fit, or function. Let's admit it, it's the future, no matter how you interpret it. Organizations today are heavily investing into AI, and we will all have to just wait and watch how it evolves. Finally, RCP wanted to monitor the demand actualization and see how we could reshape the demand patterns based on the forecasted levels. We needed to coordinate a deliberate, flexible response plan with sales and supply planning as a cohesive effort. With all of these requirements in mind, we implemented the demand planning tool with Logility. And I'm going to share with you some of those results. We saw some amazing results. We had 20% improvement in our forecast accuracy. That's a big number, right? Since 2021, with 7% alone in 2023 versus the previous year. This helped us with attaining the right inventory level balance, where we were able to avoid some stockouts, as well as have the right inventory to balance within our network. Logility helped us add value to our processes, our people, our data. And change management, that is so important. I cannot stress enough what a huge benefit it was to have increased that confidence level in generating a supply plan to an improved forecast. Next, we saw that deriving a statistical forecast using Logility helped us to integrate both the top-bottom and bottoms-up demand planning philosophies. This alignment essentially created a feedback loop for us that helped to improve our accuracy over time. We were finally able to gain success in closing the gap a little bit between our sales and financial forecasts. It has allowed us to be more responsive to real-time changes in the market today. And finally, one of our biggest wins, which is my favorite, was being able to bring in stabilization and visibility to our executive leadership team across all business units. As an organization, we have increased our agility in decision making. We are, to an extent, able to proactively manage risks. Our consensus planning process has gained a much higher level of collaboration and helps us make more informed decisions based on shared insights between the different teams. The consensus planning process today, it saves us time, it supports the validation of our data, and it is shared uniformly across the organization. So with that, you can see what were the benefits of rolling Logility across our demand planning piece. I'm going to hand over back to Lisa to take you through another quick poll.
Yes, thanks so much, Raheel. It's a great recap on the challenges you faced at Reynolds and how you were able to overcome them. Just a quick question for the audience. What is the biggest challenge in your forecasting process out there? Is it forecast accuracy and bias? We see that one a lot. Process standardization. Raheel talked about how important that was to get that, to standardize across the different teams. Or data visibility. That one can, unfortunately there's no all of the above. We got to pick one. So if you guys can cast your vote there. Wow. Forecast accuracy and bias, that's an even larger than I had expected. Certainly, but we can see all of these are challenges that everybody is facing out there in the marketplace. And I'll pass it back to
you. Forecast accuracy and bias, not a surprise.
Not at all.
All right, let's talk about the second key focus area, closer to my heart and much more recent than demand planning, what we did in 2021. So we have spent the last 2 years, 2022 and 2023, into implementing Logility tool across our supply planning and deployment planning processes. Again, similar to demand planning, we went to Logility with a list of our requirements, what they were. The first one was being able to collaborate with internal departments, suppliers, distributors. We wanted to improve the overall supply chain visibility across all stakeholders. The next was being able to provide the users with a centralized location where we could manage all our supply planning parameters, and we wanted to give the users an outstanding experience. The third was S&OP. We wanted to expand our planning horizon, look for the long term, focus on an 18 to 24 month plan, become more analytical, be able to evaluate scenario planning, help our capabilities in aggregating demand, production, inventory needs, and plan action on how we could lower our cost and improve our service performance all at the same time. Constraining demand. Logility does this amazingly for us. They constrain our demand so that we are able to provide a demand-driven, realistic, needs-based production and materials plan to our manufacturing facilities. It helps us systematically support a multi-sourcing model that triggers production and deploys product at the most cost-efficient way. And finally, we wanted to determine efficient inventory movements. I've said this before, right amount of inventory at the right time, right location. This was one of our key requirements. So again, with this wish list, we implemented Logility for our supply and deployment planning. Now, similar to demand planning, I'm not going to be able to share the results with you of how much better we are today. And that is because we need at least a year's time to put together all our analytics and data and understand what was the output of Logility. But here is what I'm going to share with you are our expectations from this implementation. Before Logility, we had some of our processes were manual, as I'm sure, which is true for a lot of you out there. We had a rigid S&OP consensus. We had disparate sources of data and reporting, right? Everyone having to go into different systems and figure things out. We also had disparate production master data for the different manufacturing facilities. The processes were non-standard, and there are always nuances across the organization, different business units, and different requirements. The expectation as we move into 2024 and beyond are that we are able to generate a standard production plan today across all plants that is driven by demand, and it gets systematically integrated into our ERP system. We have been leveraging Logility Load Builder to create a distribution plan that has helped us implement a reliable S&OE strategy. We now have standardization across many processes for all our business units, plants, warehouses. Again, a big win for us. We are able to link our product lifecycle management to our supply chain processes. We are systematically constraining demand, and that has helped us create an end-to-end execution all the way to master scheduling and materials planning. The analytics ability that Logility has provided to us helps us identify exceptions and monitor the performance of our processes. So with this, again, handing over back to Lisa to do another quick poll with you.
Thanks so much, Raheel. So we heard a recap there of Reynolds' challenges in supply planning. What about you? What are your top challenges in the supply planning area? Is it centralizing data across the disparate systems? That was a big one. Planning without constrained demand, long-term S&OP planning. We heard about that struggle, and converting the master production schedule into execution. Just pick one for us and let us know which one of those is your top challenge in supply planning. Let's see how it's turning out there. Ah, this one is a closer matchup than before. It looks like the long-term S&OP planning is definitely leading the race there. I'll pass it back over to Raheel to see if she's got any thoughts.
Okay, constrained demand and S&OP planning long-term. Totally expecting that. All right, thank you for your participation. Let's end today's session with some key takeaways. I think we are trending very well on time. Okay, so let me summarize some of the biggest takeaways from our journey. Talking about the RCP supply chain digital journey today. We were able to define a strong integrated business plan for demand, S&OP, and SOE strategies. Along this journey, we were able to bring in some automation that has helped and integrate into a lot of our processes. Integration between the different systems has helped us with convergence of data sources. And I might sound here like a broken record, but standardization of processes and analytics across the organization was a clear winner for us. We continue on our path of attaining operational excellence with the integration of S&OE into our S&OP process. You saw some of our awesome results on forecast accuracy and cost reductions for both inventory and distribution. I'm going to end the session today by saying that we look forward to working on this continuous improvement journey and with Logility as our partners, again, in the future, like everyone else, looking to leverage some AI and machine learning. Thank you all.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Raheel, for walking us through that. Of course, it's a compelling story, and it's generated a lot of questions, not surprisingly, from our audience. I think that question number 13 looks really interesting. What is the company metric for Reynolds for forecasting accuracy?
Okay, so so a lot of results for the forecast accuracy and bias that we shared today. We obviously blurred out the numbers due to confidentiality, but we could, if you would like, you could connect offline, and I could share more information with you on what our numbers were, what we were looking forward to.
Great, great. Raheel, there's another interesting question there. How did Logility support managing new product introductions and product life cycles, obsolete products?
Okay, so new product introductions, life cycle, obsoleting of products. While we do not manage this within the Logility tool, we do merge our ERP with Logility and feed our material statuses into Logility. So Logility helps us plan product and plan production of product even before they have become active SKUs, while they are still being introduced and artwork is in progress, right? So we kind of get a head start over there. There are parameters in Logility that you can manage where you can turn off productions and have your ERP feed into Logility with what the material status is and how you are past your maturity stage and declining or planning to deactivate an item. So there is the two systems are ERP and Logility, both talking to each other to arrive at some of those decisions.
Great, thanks so much. There's another interesting question around causal forecasting. You mentioned that earlier when you were talking about the demand planning efforts, Raheel.
Okay, wow, that is a loaded question there. I really think this deserves an elaborate answer. So we should really connect on this offline to talk in detail about how those algorithm works. How has Logility helped us bring in and converge our statistical forecast, our historicals, a predictive analysis. And we are not yet leveraging the demand AI, but we are in conversation about some of those features that Logility does offer. But yes, we have brought in promotions and customer inventory and looked at the forecast models. But like I said, we would need to take that offline. That is a lot of information that I could share with you.
Awesome. Well, there, I see another one, question around how much customization was required, or were you able to use the software as designed? I think probably focusing more around the integration.
Yes, that is a great question. Every organization, absolutely different, right? And I wouldn't say we haven't done customization. We've had to do some customization, yes. And I think Logility has been great about understanding our needs. And while their standard software does offer, every business has some nuances where either you are used to doing things a certain way or the business demands some sort of customization for you to be successfully implementing your business processes. But I can only say that Logility is a great partner, and they listen to you and they offer different solutions if that's what you're looking for.
So I see, well, I'm watching the time a little bit. Maybe one last question. What advice would you give companies starting a planning initiative?
Okay, so what advice? I think similar to what we did, right? You got to understand your own background, what your current status is. Do a self assessment. Understand what are your key areas of improvement. Talk to your providers. Talk to Logility about what your key requirement list is, and so that they understand what your focus is. And that way they will be able to help you put together a proposal for your organization. And that way you can make sure that they are addressing your key needs and requirements, and taking you through an amazing journey of transformation.
Great. Thanks so much, Raheel. That kind of wraps up our program today, but we really value your feedback. And if you could take just a minute to complete the survey and tell us how we did, and what you would like to hear about in future webinars, you can click the survey icon at the bottom of your screen, or wait and it will appear as soon as we end today's session. Really want to thank Raheel for sharing your story today. It's a fabulous journey that you made from S&OP over to integrated S&OE. And thank you to our audience for attending. And don't forget to check out those additional resources on our website that are included. And I hope everyone has a fantastic day. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.